A fax machine in the governor's office is at the center of the controversy in Jammu and Kashmir. Yes, you heard that right. J&K Governor Satyapal Malik's decision to dissolve the state assembly after the PDP Congress NC combined staked claim to form the government has drawn sharp reactions from across the political sphere, especially when he has said it's because there was no one to receive the fax that Mehbooba Mufti sent. The National Conference now says that they're ready to go it alone whenever elections are announced. The Congress says the governor acted under pressure from the BJP. The BJP calls the plan to form a government by these three parties fueled by Pakistan. In all this mess, it's important to take a hard, close look at what has been happening in the state of Jammu and Kashmir since the PDP and BJP split about 6 months ago. To speak on this and more, I'm joined now by Brigadier Anil Gupta from the Bharatiya Janata Party. He's joining us from Jammu this evening. Salman Soz, spokesperson of the Congress Party, is also talking to us on the show. And we also have M.M. Ansari with us. He was an interlocutor on Jammu and Kashmir and an expert on matters pertaining to the valley. Welcome to all of you. Mr. Gupta, let me begin by asking you if you admit that this situation looks a bit bad. There have been pleas to the governor, Satyapal Malik, to dissolve the assembly for several months now. It's in fact been 6 months since your party and the PDP split. Maybe it's just bad timing, but can we really believe that just a few minutes after Mehbooba Mufti says she wants to form the government, she wants to stake claim, there comes a message saying that I've dissolved the assembly?
See, Tamanna, things are not bad. In fact, things are improving now. See, ever since the BJP-PDP alliance broke, the political situation in Kashmir has been becoming murkier and murkier, and had become so much messy that the two regional parties, which were supposed to be safeguarding the democracy in the J&K, had become totally undemocratic. They had taken the people of Jammu and Kashmir for granted. They thought that Jammu and Kashmir is their personal property. As and when they want, they can contest elections. As and when they want, they can boycott elections. And as and when they want, they can form a government. They were trying to make a mockery of democracy and play a cruel joke with the people of India. Now, as far as yesterday's incidents are concerned, you must remember that alliance was only in thin air. Congress has admitted that we had not even met. It was just a proposal. Umar Abdullah says he has not given any written support to the PDP. PDP claimed support of 29 MLAs. Her own MLAs come and say we are not with PDP. So she was just trying to create a drama. And in this situation, and had this unholy alliance been stitched, this would have led to an inter-region conflict in Jammu and Kashmir.
But that's not the question really. That's not the question really, Brigadier Gupta. Whether it was an unholy alliance, whether it was in thin air or not, would have been left to the discretion of the governor once he saw her communication, and then he would have asked her to produce the numbers, and if she didn't, it would have been out the window. It's the timing. It almost seems that this was the prod needed to dissolve the assembly. Remember, all of these parties have been asking for the dissolution of the assembly for the last several months.
So they have been asking for dissolution of assembly, and now it's been dissolved, and why they're crying. They are the ones who have been asking for dissolution of assembly.
Okay.
And they, to my mind, maybe that even the yesterday's dramas were enacted to pressurize the governor to dissolve the assembly. You never know, because these people, these parties are capable of doing anything. They have lost the political morality. They are only now for power. Their political base and political space has shrunk so much in Kashmir that they are looking for anything which can ensure that their political survival in future is not endangered. And that is why they are doing all these things. Okay,
let me get Salman Soz to respond to that. Two things. If all of these parties always wanted the assembly dissolved, then why cry now? And was this last minute stitching up of an alliance a bid to sort of push the governor to dissolve the assembly, something you wanted all along?
I think it is an open secret that the BJP has been trying to coerce and induce MLAs from other parties to join hands with them so that they can form the government. And by the way, BJP was desperate to get someone to become a chief minister who has only 2 MLAs, and that too from Kashmir. So BJP could not find anybody from Jammu with 25 MLAs. What an insult to the people of Jammu and to those 25 MLAs that they could not even come up with one chief ministerial name. Now, the governor, just on 18th of this month, that is just a few days back, had said that the assembly would not be dissolved. It would remain in suspended animation. And then suddenly, yesterday, literally less than 72 hours after making that statement, and by the way, in his statement, he had said that it was up to the Election Commission and the government of India to decide when to go for new elections or if to dissolve or not. And suddenly, the governor, apparently was not working, decided that he had to dissolve the assembly. Look, these sorts of machinations, this is what BJP is about. The BJP is a very power-hungry party. Now, it was fine for them to be in, it is an unholy alliance if somebody else forms an alliance. But if BJP is with PDP, that is a holy alliance. If BJP was with the NC, that is a holy alliance. But others cannot form an alliance. That is the message that BJP wants to send to the people of India. And I think, what we are seeing now is that people are fed up, frankly, not just in J&K, but across the country. I think there's a wave building up against the BJP, and you will see. By the way, people of Jammu are not fooled. They understand what is going on. They've been taken for a ride.
Let's focus on Jammu and Kashmir. Just focus on Jammu and Kashmir for now.
Can I come
Yes, Brigadier Gupta, you can come in, but just...
can I come in?
Yeah, I just want to come in with a question of how, why has this back and forth been happening on whether there should be governor's rule or there should be an election? Would you, in a sense, admitted that the BJP perhaps got cornered as well, and now there will be elections which all parties will have to face?
See, firstly, let me reply to 3 points Mr. Soos made. He said BJP is power hungry. Has BJP been power hungry? Why should have BJP withdrawn from the government which is part of? That is first. Secondly, he said that the Election Commission was to decide when the assembly should be dissolved. Election Commission of India does not decide when the assembly should be dissolved. It is the prerogative of the governor.
I'm only saying what the governor.
I'm
only saying what the governor said.
No, you said the Election Commission of India.
That's what the governor said.
No. The governor never said this. You can see the recordings. He has never mentioned Election Commission of India.
Check the governor's comment.
Anyway, let's not argue. I made a point. Now, coming on to your question. See, Bharatiya Janata Party has always said that these two parties, the regional parties, and an opportunistic party like Congress, they have created a political mess. There is a need for an alternative. If you want democracy to survive in Jammu and Kashmir, you need an alternative. So therefore, this alternative was in the form of the third front. It was being explored whether third front can be formed or not, because third front was the only viable option left, because these two parties had brought such a I would say, taken democracy to such a low level that there was no other, but people have been wanting democracy. You see the turnout in the Panchayat election.
Front, Sajjad Lone has how many seats? This third front also was something which came... He has 2 MLAs.
It's not question of Sajjad Lone, it's question of third front. It's a question of third front.
But there has to be someone in the third front.
No, there's many faces in third front. This third front had to be formed somewhere in the Kashmir Valley. So it had to be a leader from Kashmir.
Let me ask you something, Mr. Gupta. Let me ask you, will you fight the elections with Sajjad Lone?
Yes, last time also I think he fought with us. If it comes to that, we may. There's no question of not. Presently, he's a partner. Now, what happens in future, we'll have to decide. The core committee will decide that.
I want to come to Mr. Ansari before giving Salman Soos an opportunity to respond. I want to come to Mr. Ansari with the bigger question that I put in the beginning of this show. While this grab for power will continue with 4 players in the fray, serious players, maybe 3 of them. I'm not too sure where the Congress stands today in Jammu and Kashmir after its last showing. What really has happened to the people of the state under 6 months of governor's rule. We've been hearing various comments. Some of them have been that governor's rule has worked for Jammu and Kashmir, though we've seen instances of violence also increasing. The PDP-BJP combined also saw a large number of violent stone pelting attacks, people being blinded, the pellet guns, all of that we've seen. What does the state need today? Will a fresh election give it the breather it needs?
Well, whatever has been happening in Kashmir, in my view, is due to the huge alienation of Kashmiri people. And I must tell you that the recent incident shows that the central government has never been keen to establish and restore the democratic process. For example, I may mention that about 5-6 months back, there was already a coalition government between PDP and BJP. All of a sudden, it was pulled down. And then if we see it, what was happening before, in 87, again, there was a radical election. In 1984, Farooq Abdullah government was dissolved. And before that, in 53, Sheikh Abdullah was arrested and jailed. So my point is that the Kashmiris have been yearning for peace, and for doing that, they are looking for a political process. Unfortunately, the central government, whichever has been in power, have never allowed the democracy to take place and to take its root, and which is why what you mentioned about the uprising in Kashmir that is seen, and that is hugely because they have been all the long has been saying that please, for God's sake, restore the democratic process, and incidentally we see what has been happening. Now the coalition culture has come to stay in our country, and earlier the PDP and the BJP were in power together. Now if there are some other forces willing to come to form the government, there should not have been any objection by any corner. Rather, the democratic process should have been allowed to prevail. The MLAs should have been allowed to choose their own leader and support it, rather than making all kinds of allegations that this PDP-NC formation is terror friendly, or saying that they are sponsored or they are instructed by Pakistan, and all that is happening at the behest of Pakistan. This is very unfortunate. The people at large take it very differently, that we do not allow the democratic process to take place in Jammu and Kashmir the way it happens elsewhere in the rest of the whole country. And I really do not see any solution to the whole problem unless and until we allow the democratic system to prevail in the state.
Well, one would assume that would happen if free and fair elections are held. I just want to come to the terror angle, and there's this strange and interesting exchange between Ram Madhav and Omar Abdullah of the National Conference all day. I'm sure you're aware of it, Brigadier Gupta, and in the end of it, Ram Madhav, very senior leader from the BJP, had to withdraw his comment when he was challenged to prove his claims. Now, comments like this, don't you think they vitiate the atmosphere in a state that is already sensitive?
See, I would not like to comment on what Mr. Ram Madhav said, but I'd like to tell you one thing. The consensus candidate who was chosen, he has a shady past. He has an association with the separatists as well as with the terrorists. And there is a case against him of February 2006 with the Delhi police, which has hushed up on the intervention of Mir Waiz Umar Farooq. Open the file, open the case and see. So with a person with such a shady past, if is being projected as the coalition candidate for chief ministership, what else can you expect?
They didn't declare any candidate. They've not officially declared any candidate.
They did.
No, okay.
They did. Altaf Bukhari was the consensus candidate.
Okay, I'm going to let Salman Soz respond to that, but yeah.
I mean, this is so ludicrous. I mean, this is the same BJP that was in the government when Mr. Bukhari, who they now accuse of doing all sorts of misdeeds, he was the finance minister. Before that, he was the minister of roads and buildings. What is the brigadier talking about? They share the fruits of power. BJP has indulged in massive corruption in the state. After 4.5 years, they suddenly
BJP has not done any corruption. Corruption is the landmark hallmark of Congress.
Okay.
Yes.
Gentlemen, one by one, please.
Please, Mr. Brigadier,
corruption against any BJP leader.
Please do not.
There are 21 cases of corruption
We'll
against
speak
Congress
one by
leaders.
one on this show. Brigadier Gupta, I request you. Salman, I request you. We'll speak one by one on the show. You will have your say once Salman is done.
The point, Tamanna, is that for 4.5 years, they've shared power with PDP, and now suddenly PDP is bad. They didn't remember it when they were in power with PDP. They were sharing power. They were enjoying themselves. They didn't do much work. And here we are now hearing from the brigadier that the PDP is a bad party.
No, listen to me, Salman. Okay, forget what the BJP is saying.
Damage to democracy.
Forget what the BJP is saying.
This is hypocrisy.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you something. Now, when elections are declared, as of now, no one has really contested the governor's decision. There has been a lot of talk, but I'm not sure if the PDP will go to court. They may not. They haven't so far. But let me ask you that when elections are called, assuming that there is no impediment to that process, will the Congress ally with any party? Will you go it alone? And do you think you're in a position to offer anything to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, looking at the track record of the last few years?
Look, I'll tell you something, Tamanna. Congress party is the only party of the 4 major parties in the state that has a presence in all 3 regions of the state. We have MLAs from Ladakh, from Kashmir, and from Jammu. We're the only party. The other point you should keep in mind is that in Jammu, where BJP won 25 seats, tremendous kind of performance last time. This time, what people have realized is that BJP talks a big game. They talk about Jammu ki asmita. But when it comes to really standing for something in Jammu, for people of Jammu, for their voters who voted for them, they have nothing to show for it. What they have to show for it is that they were willing to support a leader who has 2 MLAs from Kashmir. So that they were going to let their voters
I have to let Brigadier Gupta come in now.
I think the Congress party is going to contest, and we'll see about alliances. We'll see. We're not shutting the doors to alliances, but I can tell you that the Congress party has an opportunity to become the biggest party in the next election, guaranteed.
Brigadier Gupta, before you respond,
I don't know in which world the Congress party is living. You see the recent ULB elections and the Panchayat elections, they have shown the mirror to Congress party. Congress party could not field candidates. They did not have candidates who are willing to contest on the symbol of Congress party. The results of the ULB. What has happened to their tall leaders? They're claiming they have got leadership. Where is the leadership? All their leaders have been humbled. What has happened to the various municipal committees? What has happened to the municipal corporations?
Wait a minute. I want to ask you something else. I want to ask you something else.
Please.
Brigadier Gupta, there are 87 seats in the assembly. The last elections showed that you did very well. By you, I mean the BJP did very well in Jammu. Kashmir has not accepted the Bharatiya Janata Party. I'm sure even you will admit it's unlikely they will in the next elections whenever they're held. There's no one left. There's no one left for you to ally with. There's no one left for you to ally with. What are you going to say to the people of Jammu and Kashmir when this election campaign begins? What really have you left to say? Don't you think the BJP has set itself up for a complete disaster in J&K with the political actions that have been taken over the last few years?
That's right.
Not at all. To the contrary, we will form single-party government in J&K. And secondly, if we fall short of majority, I can tell you that no party can form government in J&K without the support of BJP. You can take it writing from me. Let the elections be any day. And if at all people have any doubt, they must see the elections of the ULBs and the Panchayats.
No, that's a very interesting point. Sorry, I'm going to come back to you because you say no party can form the government without the support of the BJP. Does that mean that today you're saying you're open to allying once again with PDP if need be, or with NC if it need be? I mean, who is left for you to ally with?
We will make government of our own. We'll ally. The third front will come up in Kashmir. Let's see. Wait and see. Third front will come up.
Okay. I want to come to Mr. Ansari on this third front and how he sees the political picture of Jammu and Kashmir in this next election. Mr. Ansari, who is most well placed among the 4 major parties in Jammu and Kashmir today, which is of course the NC, PDP, the Congress and the BJP?
Of course, it will be Congress and the NC, which has been in opposition, because the NDA and PDP alliance has not been able to achieve much, because they have had agenda of alliance, and they did not do much insofar as implementation of the agreed points were concerned, whether it was negotiation with Pakistan or having dialogue with Kashmiris. Rather, all kinds of foul games have now been played, because in the last 5 months or so there has been governor rule, and no one thought of dissolving the assembly. But now, when these formations were attempted, whether by Sajjad Lone or by Mehbooba Mufti, that has also been thwarted. So in the sense that the credibility of electoral process and the democratic process has to be restored, and whosoever is making adequate and proper promises and assurance to the people, probably they will have an opportunity to form the government. But surely, I think the BJP has lost its credibility, because it has had the huge opportunity to do a lot of things for the Kashmir, to bring peace in Kashmir. Unfortunately, that has not been realized.
I will take a response to that comment from both the Congress and the BJP. Yes, Salman.
See, one thing that many people do not realize is that it's very easy to divide people, right? I mean, you can say Jammu versus Kashmir versus Ladakh and all that. But the reality is that these three regions are very closely knit together. The economies are very closely knit together. So if one province does not do well, one part does not do well, the entire state suffers. And I think that's what people are realizing, both in Kashmir and in Jammu and also in Ladakh. So meanwhile, while BJP has been trying to polarize people, trying to divide people, I think it has ultimately hurt people a lot. And it has hurt people who voted for BJP. And I think there were expectations, frankly. There were expectations at the state level of the BJP, and of course at the national level from the Modi government. And I think those expectations are unmet by a long way. And
it's interesting. It's interesting to hear you admit that. It's interesting to hear you admit that, Sajjad, that Salman, that in 2014 there were expectations from this combine.
By the way, Tamanna, I want to say one thing to you. I mean, beyond politics, after Prime Minister Vajpayee came in, he put in a lot of effort. Mufti Mohammed Said formed the government. The Congress was in the government with him. Azad Saab was the chief minister as well. There was a lot of progress in Kashmir. But I think these last 4 years, 4.5 years, they've really eroded the gains of all these years that we've had. And Kashmir and the state is back in the bad old days of the 90s. And no matter what anybody says, that has really harmed the national interest. And I think it is really a sad reflection of how poorly the BJP at the center and the state has governed. And the PDP is equally to blame, by the way. So I think they made a mess, and PDP has lost a lot of credibility in Kashmir.
4 hours ago,
the BJP has lost a lot of credibility.
You're saying that, but as of 20, it's interesting. This is how the politics of Jammu and Kashmir work, because as of 24 hours ago, Salman Soz, who now says that the PDP made a mess, was willing to ally with the PDP to form a government. Brigadier Gupta, you have the last word on the show, but I also have to ask you that with the way all political parties have behaved, isn't it a tall task to ask the people of the state to put their trust in any of these parties, including the BJP?
I'll answer that last. Firstly, it is the NC Congress government in state and the Congress government in center which adopted an ostrich-like approach to radicalization and terrorism and let these grow unhindered. And that is why what the state is today in Kashmir, it is because of these two parties, their government. They have to accept it. It is their doing. And they are the ones who also added fuel to the fire after Burhan Wani killing. They are the ones who encourage the stone pelters. They are the ones who encourage the torching of the police stations. So they have to accept it. They have been playing politics with the Kashmiri people. They have been playing politics with the life of Kashmiri people. And they are the ones who have looted this state.
Okay.
There are 21 ministers of Congress against whom there are corruption charges.
You've been in power for the last 4 years.
As well as Ghulam Nabi Azad.
You've been in the power for the last 4 years. You're rewinding, you're going back in time.
Not in a single.
Okay.
I have to, because
fine,
what happened in these 4 years is what they have brought the stage to that stage.
The latest government will be questioned.
We have restored law and order. We have restored, for the first time, the Hurriyat has been
Are you going to answer my question, Brigadier Gupta? Are you going to answer my question?
Yes.
About why should the people of J&K trust any political party?
They are, you see, you are out of sync with the time. What does the elections of the ULB and the panchayats tell you? They tell you that people have faith in Bharatiya Janata Party. Bharatiya Janata Party is the one which has been voted to power in both these elections. All these people who are saying that NC Congress will form government, I think they're out of sync with this time.
Okay. Thank you so much to all of you for speaking with us today. We're not quite sure where the story of the J&K government or politics in Jammu and Kashmir will go next, but elections will at least give the people of the state an opportunity to make their voice heard once again.